This is the Horsepower Hour.
Hello, once again to the Horsepower Hour, the only podcast with a salvage title. Joining me, as always, is the illustrious Poison Masterson, wearing your Shelby Cobra shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to wear that Shelby shirt because we have some crazy news from Ford.
Dude, big things happening from Ford, and big things happening here on the pod, thanks to you guys, by the way. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for telling a friend about the show. It means so much to us, and we really do appreciate that. We appreciate you, that one fan that's listening. Thank you so much, you, that one person. We already have Mobile Moto in the comments. Thanks so much for being here, my friend. If you guys are hearing things that we're talking about and you want to extend the conversation, jump in those comments. Better yet, even jump into our Facebook group. It's just facebook.com/group/the Horsepower Hour. I won't be in the group for about a week because Facebook decided that one of my comments was offensive. And it's the dark humor, Coy. It's like the dark sarcasm. It's not translating anymore. We're starting to get into these Gen Zers where everything is taken literally at face value, and self-deprecating jokes, especially. It doesn't fly. It doesn't work, and especially sort of like on social media, because obviously.
Explain your comment that got you banned, because I found it hilarious, and I love that there's no way you can be like, hey, you can just ask them to review it, and then the algorithm reviews it, goes, no, you're still racist, and keeps banning you. But like, tell them what it was, because I found it so insanely nothing that I say to people on a daily basis.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I'm talking about. So Brian from Cork Sport posted a meme about people dumping thousands of dollars of performance parts into what was supposed to be their daily driver car, and sort of like poking fun at the fact that people get a Mazda Speed 3 because it's a four-door hatchback, and it isn't meant to be like a super race car, even though it's fast and capable and all that other stuff. And so the comment I made was, your post makes me want to hand you my wallet and then kick you in the dick. Seems pretty innocuous to me. Like, obviously, I'm not going to do that, but we're at that point now where I say something like that. The last time I got a Facebook ban was just somebody making like a joke post, and they were like, listen, everybody, if you want my nudes, you have to sign up to my OnlyFans. I don't give them out for free. And I think I put the hashtag send nudes, and Facebook clipped me for a week on that one too. They said I was soliciting sex or sexual acts or something like that. Just something ridiculous.
That's hilarious. I find it hilarious. And I like how the algorithm has targeted you. I do not. I say whatever I want, but they haven't clipped me hard enough for it to like zoom in on my profile, and I just fly under the radar. But you just say nothing and you just get crushed.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, I'm not alone. So last episode we had Devin Hoffman, Devin Alexandria, if you're on Facebook and you know her, and she's already gotten her like hard account warning on TikTok, because I warned her. I said they don't like car racing videos, and of course that's what she does. She's a weekend racer, and so I want to say 3 of her videos got taken down for being dangerous or gruesome acts or something like that. And so now she just started her TikTok, and it's already like hard striked and probably shadow banned. And that's just the way social media is now.
Yeah, I also like the shadow bans. It's nice. It's like we haven't actually banned you, but we went ahead and made it so no one, your stuff never pops up anywhere.
Yeah, we've completely deranked you, so don't even bother trying to get back on the good list. You're forever on the naughty list. However, that's just kind of what we do. Like, as car guys, we get ourselves on the naughty list, it seems to be. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Ford, I feel like, is going to be getting their consumers on the naughty list just with the new stuff that they have coming out. This new Ford Raptor R, holy smokes, dude. they made a big mistake, and you know exactly what that mistake is. And so I'm going to let you talk about that mistake after we talk a little bit about this Ford Raptor R. So this was just announced. What was it, a week and a half ago, or no, just a week ago. Just a week ago. 2023 Ford F-150 Raptor R revealed 700 horsepower. It has the 5.2 liter supercharged V8 out of the Mustang GT 500. And you know, like, I love those motors. Those things are wild, wild. And the sound, Coy, they sound so good. And so coming out of a big truck, and when I say big, I mean big. This F-150, I don't know if it's the heaviest fully optioned F-150 you can get, but it's just shy of 6,000 pounds.
That's kind of heavy for a mid-size truck. If you think about it, 6,000 pounds, that's up there.
Oh yeah, and aluminum body and all of the stuff. You know, I think my F-150, because it was a fleet package, so it doesn't even. I don't even have carpet in mine. I have the vinyl floor, which is what I wanted, but you know, still, I'm pretty sure it tips the scales right at 4,800. So I mean, we're talking. This is a heavy truck in comparison to others.
So I have questions though. I have a lot of questions on their horsepower numbers on this. 700 horsepower, but this is the same motor in the GT 500.
So it's downrated on the horsepower side, but it actually makes more torque than the GT 500 engine.
I'm wondering what's up here. Because and I have a theory. Now, we've talked about this. I said Ford just has to come out because what's the Dodge TRX? It's like 702 horsepower, or is it 712?
703, I think.
Yeah, it's
advertised.
barely 700. And then Ford's just like, how easy would it be for this motor to make 8 more horsepower so they could say they had more, right? Super easy.
And now, that, my friends, is the big mistake that Ford has made here.
Wait. I wonder if they're going a little Japanese on us and underrating the horsepower of this motor.
Ooh.
Purposely. And even though they'll have 2 less horsepower, it'll beat the TRX at everything. And everybody will say, even though it has less horsepower by 2 or 3, it's tromping the shit out of it. Because if this really does have 760 or 40 horsepower,
yeah,
they're probably lighter than the TRX anyway, so they're just gonna trump it, and they're gonna beat it at everything, power wise.
Yeah, you could be right. I still don't.
Deep cut. I still think they should have just made it 2 horsepower more. But I mean, numbers aren't gonna lie. If this Raptor is beating it at everything, we'll know what they did, right? Like,
yeah. And since technically this is still pre-production, we don't have any 0 to 60 numbers. We don't have a quarter mile time yet or anything like that. But once those get teased out, or it gets into the hands of an automotive journalist and they're able to, you know, run it at the track, I'll be very, very curious, because if this thing is just a little bit slower than the TRX all the way around, I don't know. I'm going to lose faith in Ford, because it seems like such a hugely missed opportunity.
it can't. It just can't. They've had all this time to get ready for this, and to not beat it by just a tiny bit would make no sense to me. I would. Mr. Farley would just roll in there and start firing engineers, right? Just walk in with 2 paychecks and pink slips and start just throwing them at guys. 2 paychecks for you. You get 2 paychecks. You get 2 paychecks, right?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think heads would roll if I was the head of Ford and we introduced something like this and it wasn't as fast. And you know, it's one thing to say not as fast, because like if it's a full second slower in the quarter mile or something, like that's way off of the mark. But if it comes in and it's doing like a 13.5 in the quarter mile and the TRX is doing a 13.4, heads would roll. I would just start killing people. As a matter of fact, I would probably just go to those engineers and say, can we put a smaller pulley on the superchargers? Is it too late to do that? Change your maps, change your fueling, change your timing, whatever you got to do. But we already know the ECUs on these trucks are very good. Like that's one thing I really have to kind of hand to Ford. Your ability to OBD2 tune their EcoBoost engines is very, very good.
So
And so
what did you say the weight was on this again? 6,000 and what?
it's just shy of 6,000. It's 5960, I believe.
So I just Googled it, and the TRX is coming in at, according to just a basic Google search, at 6439. So it is pushing 500 pounds lighter. That's a chunk. With 2
Mhm.
horsepowers of difference, that 500 pounds is going to come into play. And I really think they're either derating it, or since this is pre-production, they're gonna wait till later to say we have 718 horsepower.
Yeah, that
I,
could
I
be.
mean, I know they upped the torque, but there's no real, unless they made some real changes. I don't see how the horsepower is actually less than the GT 500, unless it has like a different crank or something. Like, if you're gonna up the torque, the horsepower should up as well, in my mind.
Yeah, and the bean counters are doing all of the things that bean counters do. Who knows why they would have derated it or whatever. But let's move on past that one kind of shortcoming, because I do think that there are a lot of really cool things going on here. So it of course has 37s. You couldn't expect it to have anything less than that. It's got 13 inches of wheel travel in the front and 14 inches of travel in the back. So, I mean, I think they're really trying to make this a desert race ready truck. It has an active valve system in the exhaust. So, in theory, it should have a quiet mode and a race mode. And I'm pretty pumped for that because, like I said, these 5.2-liter motors sound incredible. I love them. So, if you have the option of like opening your exhaust up, quote unquote, off road use only, I think that's a brilliant thing to do. Um, Now, let's talk about the price, Coy, because there's a little bit of a thing there. I don't know what I was expecting this truck to cost, but it's coming in at $110,000 or just short of it. MSRP is 109 and some change.
That's a
Where
chunk of change, buddy. That's a
where
lot of money.
Yeah, but where are we at here? So like the Jeep Grand Wagoneer, the brand new one, those can spec up into the 100,000s very quickly and very easily. I don't I mean the TRX, I believe people are fetching 100,000 plus for those as well.
I think the TRX base model is like $80,000 though. I mean, it's still an insane amount of money, but it's right there. Like, but is that Raptor R like maxed out? Like, is there a bunch of different packages, or you just get a Raptor R and it's kind of already maxed out? You know what I mean?
Right, and we'll have to see about all of that. But I guess what I'm trying to ask you is, I know that, inflation's going crazy. Everything is costing more right now. Used cars are the cost of new cars 2 or 3 years ago. What are you seeing, or how are you feeling? What's your intuition telling you about some of these performance vehicles just continuing to get more and more and more expensive, now to the point where you're looking at six figures?
That's a tough one for me because I don't understand it. I'm a huge car guy. I love cars. I can't I can't justify. I would never spend $100,000 on a car, and like, I'm financially pretty well off. Like, we do okay. I don't understand. I mean, I honestly don't even understand. I got friends that have gone and bought, like, brand new Dodge diesel trucks, and it's like they spent $65,000 on it. I'm like, dude, that's an insane amount of money. I mean, you're looking at $700 a month payment. That was my first house, had a $700 a month payment. Like, I'm in my 30s. Like, I'm not. This wasn't that long ago. So
Mhm.
I don't even. I almost feel bad, like, because like financially, like, it's like, bro, you should not buy half of these cars. They're too expensive, but people do it. I don't understand how. Honestly, I mean, excuse me, that's crazy price. It's like, and now, and bear in mind, if you buy this, I know a lot of Raptors just sit on the street, but if you're in California, a lot of guys are taking these off road.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I bet more Raptors get jumped than F-150 pickups, like regular. Mm-hmm. It blows my mind that you're spending $100,000 and then you're gonna. I would have issues taking something off road after I spent $100,000 on it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm 100% with you there. And here, 3 weeks ago, we talked about the Ford Thunder package that you can get from Steeda, and we spec'd that out. You purchase not a fully optioned F-150, but just sort of like, you get an F-150 with a V8, and it's not going to be the most special. It's not going to be the Grand Lariat or King Cherokee or whatever all their options are, but you can spend $40,000 and get a decently optioned, flying under the radar, maybe like a super cab V8 F-150, and then you can take it over to Steeda, and you give them $34,000, and they make it 750 horsepower, and do things with the suspension and wheel and tire package and all of that. And so that really throws a monkey wrench in this whole system for me, because I was excited, and I am still excited about the Ford Raptor R. We need to just start calling it the Raptor with the hard R.
This is we got the Raptor. We'll call this one the Raptor.
Yes, we'll call this one the Raptor.
The Raptor.
The Raptor. $109,000, bro. And like, I get it. That's your top of the line. That is the end all be all. But if I don't need all of the bells and whistles, if I don't need an inverter to plug stuff in the back seat, if I don't need TVs and the headrests for my kids, and I just go out and get a more basic V8 F-150, I can have something that's in theory just as fast, or perhaps even a little bit faster, for $30,000 cheaper, $35,000 cheaper. You get what I'm saying?
Here's what's painful for me. So you could go out and you could buy a brand new, whichever seat you think's more comfortable, full size Dodge truck, Chevy truck, Ford truck. Pick your poison. They're all the fucking same. Basically, it's just whatever seat you like. Brand new, full size. 3,500, whatever. It's going to be in the $60,000 range. You now have $30,000 to $40,000 to spend on like a full fiberglass Baja truck and a trailer.
Right.
I guarantee you're not maybe going to get a 700 horsepower one, but you're going to get, dude, $20,000 will get you a pretty decent pre-runner. $30,000 will get you a real good looking pre-runner, and throw that on a trailer and tow it to the desert, do what you want, come back. Like, technically not the cloud of a Raptor R. I get it. But when we're talking multiple vehicles for the price of this one, and one of them being brand new, now if I spent $40,000 on a Dodge, Chevy, or Ford, full size diesel truck to add $85,000 on it, went ahead and then, bought a pre-runner or crawler, whatever it is that you're into, kind of off-roader. That's kind of expendable. If I lay it over, my world doesn't end. Like, I don't have something that has a $700 a month payment that is crushed on one side. So, and then I can get a trailer, a toy hauler. Like, for $100,000, you can buy a whole hobby in this arena. Like, you could get a pull rig, you can get a fifth wheel, and you can get the wheeler, or you can get a camper and a trailer. Like, I mean, that's where it's hard for me, because it's like, I could, for $20,000, I can get a pretty sweet side by side. So for $40,000, I can have two side by sides. Means me and my wife can drive. We can both take a kid with us. Honestly, a side by side, whatever Polaris KT or Can-Am, whatever you like, they're going to be in that $20,000-$25,000 range. We can get two of those and a tow rig with a camper, and if we bought them all used, well under this price.
Right.
Like, my whole family could go and do high-speed Baja shit in side-by-sides to way less than this.
Right.
Which, I'm sure I'm thinking wrong. This is more of a clout rig. This is what, this is what Vin Diesel's going to drive or something, I guess. And then maybe it never sees off-road. Like, is this what Kurt Russell's going to drive to the grocery store? Is that what it's more for?
Right. And you're mirroring what my thoughts are. I feel like some of these car prices, we've now jumped the shark. Um, I look at like the Tesla Model S Plaid, and I just think it's insane that people would pay $120,000 for that. But a lot of people do, and it's just sort of this stuff seems to be going way above and beyond and over my head, quite frankly, with these prices. It's just stuff that I never thought that I would see. In some ways, I mean, that's probably a little boomery of me. I still think if you find a cheap car, like a cheap clapped out car just to get you from A to B, like it's your first car, I think it should be $1,000 or less. And I just feel like that's not the norm anymore, right?
In the last year, I've bought 2 vehicles that were under $1,000, and both are runners. So I could literally buy hundreds of those. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
and I'm minimum doubling my money on these. So I mean, I know it's a seller's market and car prices are going up, but $100,000 and 700 horsepower, like that's insane in a factory vehicle. But I would expect nothing less for $100,000. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
like it better be something incredible for 100. Like why else would you buy it? Like I know Ford had some platinum editions and stuff that were getting up in that range. And they were kind of full size, ultra luxurious, and they mostly just said platinum. And then people could say they had a platinum edition. I'm not sure what the deal was, but I don't. That's so much money.
Mhm.
So much money. On the other hand, I like the idea of them selling a ton of these and then a bunch getting wrecked, and then me able to go to the junkyard and get a Raptor R motor for 4 grand and shoehorn it into something like. Or literally, I mean, I pick one up at an insurance auction that's been rolled, and then I cut the top off and unbolt the bed and exo it. It just I like the idea of that stuff, but this for 100 grand, even at insurance auction, something like this is going to have to sell for an insane amount of money.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true. And I don't think I shared it here, but I shared it with kind of, our Facebook group, the Horsepower Hour. But someone actually local to me was trying to sell a brand new Corvette. I think it was a Corvette Z06, white, if I'm remembering correctly. And he wanted $31,500. And if you recall, it's because it was literally tacoed around a tree. It was
Uh,
completely wrecked. And he was like, "Okay, well, I'm either gonna let the insurance take this or you guys can have it." And I was just sitting here thinking, I don't I mean, how do you even recoup your money out of that? But it's because he spent so much on the Corvette. And in some ways, like, the new mid-engine Corvette, that makes a little more bit more sense to me because it's sort of like a supercar territory. And I'm not saying that the Ford Raptor R isn't supercar territory. It kind of is, but you don't normally think of something like that as having the supercar sticker.
yeah, it tears me apart because I sure love this thing, but on the other hand, like I also feel certain about responsibility when I'm talking to my friends and they're like, "I'm thinking about getting this," and I'm like, "Dude, you can't spend that you just." And these are middle class Americans. These aren't poor people. I'm like, you just can't spend that kind of money on a car. You want to retire, right? Like this is, and I'm not even like a super fiscal guy. It's weird.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, I think we've hammered this to death about that price. Let's talk about something more reasonably priced, shall we?
Let's jump in the comments here for a second. Mobile Moto's in here.
Oh, Moto, what is your car counts? I just added a 2022 Bronco as number 14. The others are all at least 18-year-old garbage. Yeah. Right now we just have the two vehicles. But Coy and I, holy smokes, we have sunk more money into $1,000 piles of crap than I would really like to remember personally.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how we're counting. We're counting what I have right now. Are we counting a lifetime total? Because I've flipped quite a few cars, which brings up my total a little more, I think, than it should fairly be. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I sucked some dicks in a club bathroom. I wasn't in love with the dude. You know what I mean? So that body count doesn't count. And like I was on Ritalin, and yeah, it was just a crazy, crazy moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my body count with cars, I'm not sure how we're counting it. If we don't count flippers, yeah. Current inventory. I've buried some mistakes as well. Okay. Let's see. I got. Thank you. I got a Ford Power Stroke. Got the FJ. I got an MR2. I got a Colorado. Then my wife drives a RAV4, and then I just sold the Scion. So I got 5 or 6 cars right now. Nothing newer than 2017. I think my wife's is the newest thing. My FJ is 2012. Like I don't have a vehicle on my land that was paid for over 40 grand new. I think my wife's be the most expensive one. We bought a brand new, it was mid 30s. Like it's a RAV4. It's a great car, but nothing expensive.
Yeah. We just have the 2020 Elantra and my 2017 F-150. Oh, but we do have the motorhome. That's my big block.
Oh, got the big block out in the driveway.
Yeah, it's got
sold that yet?
No, I mean, I've got people that are interested, but also we're just not in a super rush to sell it because we like using it on the weekends, take it down to the beach. I'll tell you though, this 2023 Honda Civic Type R, I'm on the fence about a few things, but overall, I think that we're going to be in for a good time. They're saying that this is the most powerful Honda Civic Type R that they've ever made. Now, the last generations was 306 horsepower. So, a lot of people are assuming that this is going to be like 314, 315. The highest horsepower front wheel drive hot hatch right now is the Volkswagen Golf R, and it has 328 horsepower. So it theoretically, technically, I mean, Honda could beat that if they wanted to put their mind to it. But as we saw with Ford, maybe that doesn't matter. Maybe it's going to get by on the merits of just being a good, fast, fun car. Let's talk about the looks here for a second, because last episode we did talk about how this looked just from the front end, and my opinion hasn't really changed. It looks like a mixture of like a Subaru Legacy and a Honda Accord, and I don't know if I'm a huge fan of the direction that Honda has taken this.
So from the front, I don't like the look at all. But from the rear, it has like a miniature Audi look that I kind of dig.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the wing's a little off for me. It's got kind of a Mark IV Super whale tail thing going on a little
Mm-hmm.
bit, but it's odd. Like and maybe that's just, I have a certain sense of a wing needs to be that time attack, flat plane, possibly dual element, big end plates, and this is a really curved wing. So yeah, that part's odd. And I honestly think, I think Honda is going to try and sink their teeth into the Nürburgring lap times, because that's, in the past, that's always kind of what they did with the Type R. Like it's always been, usually when they come out with a new Type R, it claims the fastest front wheel drive title at the ring. So I know I've said it before on the show. I really think that's what they're doing again. That being said, I don't care for the way it looks. It doesn't look Honda-ish. It doesn't look Civic-ish. It looks big. It looks too big.
It does. It looks very big. I'm not sure what the dimensions are just yet, but everything Honda's doing is just getting bigger, fatter. I'm glad they're adding some horsepower. That's fine. And I do have a lot of faith still in the Honda engineers to make something that's fun and quick and handles well. But you're right. This is kind of going in the opposite direction of, I think, where a lot of people want to see it go. I don't, and here's the thing. They probably wouldn't sell as well if they were a two-door, but I certainly would like to see a Honda Civic Type R return to like an EG or an EK style two-door hatchback. And I know that that's not on the menu. Like I understand that, but as an enthusiast, man, I long for the days when we had that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love actual hatchbacks. I know this is a hatch or 5-door or whatever, but I mean, a real hatchback, we all know what those are, the mini station wagons, So you see the side view, it doesn't look horrible. It's very Euro looking.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I mean? But it just doesn't feel like a Civic when I look at it. But I mean, we throw some neon underglow in there, some crazy bling wheels, and a Venom body kit, and maybe I'll like it again. Yeah.
We just got to put the little attachment on the back for Vin Diesel to pull his Rascal scooter up onto, and we're set. Fast and the Furious 14, baby.
Yeah. I don't love the way it looks. I don't think it's. I don't think I. This is tough for me. I'm stuttering a lot through this. I don't think it necessarily looks bad. Like if this wasn't a Civic Type R, if this was some other random Honda without that wing, like I'd be like, it's different. Honda went in a little different direction, but it's it's a good looking car.
Mhm.
But it doesn't look like a Civic Type R.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm wondering if the last generation of Civic Type R was very it's not something you'd see an older gentleman driving. Like they're very gaudy, they have a very ricey look. They came in bright colors and they're just they're very ricey. Like is that the way to I don't even know how to explain it. They have a certain look that's kind of flashy and it's you expect a high school bully to drive it, honestly.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm wondering if they're trying to depart from that a little bit because they went a little too far and they're trying to give it a little more elegance, even though that wing isn't, but the rest of it definitely has like a Euro feel to me.
Yeah, I agree with that. It does look more mature. I'll grant that for Honda. It looks more mature. But as these cars get bigger, I don't know. I feel like you can't.
Oh,
They just.
Mobile Moto just oh, I can't unsee that now, man.
It looks like a cross between the weird Cadillac D pillar and a Dodge Dart nose. Yeah, it
You
has a Dodge
compared that
Dart
to a
nose.
Dodge Dart and I cannot unsee it. Ugh, you totally ruined this car for me. I'll never unsee that now. And Dodge Darts are just hot trash.
Yeah. Wow, that's a really, really good point. Now let's talk about the price, Coy. Just shy of 40 grand. It's 39 and some change.
It's a lot of money, but that's kind of where I expect it to be.
Mhm.
You notice that too. uh
Yeah, I expect that more than I expected the Ford Raptor R to be 110,000. Like putting this at 39,000, that's closer to where I feel like it should be.
yeah, that's
Still quite a bit more expensive, by the way, than like the Hyundai Elantra N, which isn't going to make quite as much horsepower, but it's a stone's throw away. It's within 25 horsepower.
but it's going to come in right there with the Corolla GR, which is
Mhm.
really probably going to be its main competition at this point. I feel like maybe not. I shouldn't say main competition. I guess people will buy this or something else, but I mean, on paper, that will that's kind of the main thing it'll be competing against. I feel like, even though at the ring they're going to be in completely different classes since the Corolla is all-wheel drive. But I mean, me personally, I will be comparing this against the GR immediately as soon as we have numbers. That's what in my mind, that's what I'm comparing it to.
Is it time for Honda to start making these all-wheel drive?
I, I don't know. I mean, they're fast, man. They're just crazy fast. I mean, I remember when I don't know if it was the first iteration, but when it went out and it was beating the S2000 at the ring, and everybody's like, really? And it was like, no, that's faster than S2000 on the ring. We're like, well, I mean, yeah, but S2000 kind of comes with crap tires, so the people don't wreck them. And it's like, yeah, but that's that. I mean, we're talking stock lap times. Like, that's
Mhm.
what it is. So they could go all drive, I guess, but I mean, why at this point? What's their need? You know, they're not into rally. They're crushing it. Previously, have crushed it at the ring, and in my mind, they're going to do it again. I at this point, I'm taking that as a fact. So
Yeah. Yeah, and you could be
yeah,
right. You know what? You're probably right. We're just gonna have to kind of wait and see. Just like everything else that we've been talking about here today, we have to kind of wait and see. Here's a weird one for you. Toyota brings back the Crown name. Do you remember the Toyota Crowns from the 60s and 70s?
yeah, old school, man.
Super old school. So they're bringing that back. Look at this. Look at this title of this article. The 2023 Toyota Crown wants to reinvent sedans. How do they reinvent them, by the way? By making them a crossover SUV.
That's more or less, yeah.
In the
Have you
article, they talk all about,
ever seen a grill that big?
oh, it's the whole ass front of the car.
Dude,
The entire
Flav
front
Flav
of
has a smaller grill. Like,
the car.
That's interesting. That being said, I don't mind the look of this. It has a kind of a decent look. The grill it kind of bumps me immediately. Like it looks like it's yelling, but uh yeah, it's
Oh,
odd and it
it looks like it has an underbite to me.
it just looks like it's yelling, and I mean, it looks like a chick with like Botox lips yelling to me from the front, but it's weird. It's got giant wheels, but that's because it's on that. Basically, it's a crossover. It's on that crossover platform. So this is going to be on the RAV4 and that shared global
Yeah.
platform that Toyota uses. I don't see these selling. I'm gonna
I
be honest.
really don't either. I really don't either. They're very odd
Yeah.
looking. I mean, like you said, I don't hate it, but it looks like a prototype vehicle from 1996.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, the side and rear photo, I actually like the way the back end of this looks.
Do
That
you?
I do. It has a good look. It has a kind of a Bentley-ish something going on. Scroll up a little bit to that side rear quarter. Like those rear taillights that's kind of got like an Audi V10 thing looking there, you know what I mean? R8 look. Uh I don't know. I don't mind it. It looks okay. It's kind of cool that the real stark contrast between the black rear end of it and the orange side, that orange or red.
Oh yeah, Mobile Moto says it looks like a baleen whale to catch all the shrimps and plankton.
Yeah. And he
Mhm.
also points out the original crowns were Bentley ripoffs. The original Japanese cars of everything were ripoffs of something else. That's just kind of how it's been till I don't know, late 80s. Then they kind of started doing their own stuff. But I mean, yeah, JDM cars were all ripoffs of something.
Are you
Wally
seeing
face in the rear.
Wally in the face?
Wally. Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that. I like that too. Yeah. Uh,
No other real information is out about this yet. I'm going to just assume that it's going to be some kind of like a hybrid system. I doubt that this comes with any performance options. I mean, am I wrong? Could we see this get a GR treatment?
I doubt it. I would sooner think this gets a off-road package than a GR treatment. I mean, if we're
Yeah.
I mean, it's on that RAV4 platform, so you could definitely throw a locker road in there, but they already have hybrid ones. So this being a hybrid, it's probably a given that this is a hybrid. I don't see the market because it's basically a crossover without the trunk space. Looks kind of
Right.
cool, but I mean, I honestly, my wife has the 2016 RAV4, and then so it's the older. It's not this newest style of RAV4, which I love actually. I after after we got ours, then the next body style came out, and I'm like, oh, that looks way better. I wish I would have waited a year, but so I don't feel like they're really. I don't know what market they're trying to get here.
I'm getting the feeling like starting price on this is probably going to be in the 40s.
Yeah, but then like, aren't you just cutting into your Prius sales? Like this is a Prius with 19s, right? Like
Mm,
I don't understand the direction at this
Yeah.
point. I guess.
Yeah. Could be a misstep for Toyota, a rare one. Toyota's been riding high for a long time. You've complained on the show before about how, especially with like the Toyota trucks, they just are sort of like rehashing that old platform. They've been using it forever.
Oh
And
yeah.
if this is what they're coming up with for new ideas while recycling the old platforms, I don't know. I don't know. I think it could be a sign of the times. Toyota might start losing ground a little bit if they keep doing stuff like this.
So I'm a Toyota fanboy. I'll get that out front and let you know that I do have grief with Toyota. Doesn't get their reliability by cutting leading edge and better product. They get their reliability by using older tech than everyone else and using it for a long time. And then when they never go bleeding edge. So I mean, if you take a new Ford F-150 pickup, whatever the newest, and then you take a newest Toyota and compare, like the options in it just won't be there. I mean, they don't compete on that front. So they have great reliability because they use proven stuff over and over. And in case in point, this is a RAV4 shaped like a car.
Mhm.
It's not new. It's just different body panels. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's probably going to have that Toyota reliability, because it's the same Toyota that everybody else is driving with different stuff to look at. Like, it's not, that's what bugs me about Toyota. Like, I'd like to see a Toyota truck with lockers on it, but they're not going to, not for a long time. They're going to let everybody else like Ford and Chevy put front lockers in their stuff and let them deal with braking axles and stuff. And then eventually they'll come out with a great way to do it. And I'm sure it'll be super tough, but it's going to be 8 years after, after the ZR2 came out with a front locker. So it's like, that part annoys me.
Mm-hmm. Well, then I have to wonder how you're feeling about Hyundai, because man, I feel like they are really doing big and bold things. I mean, some of this stuff is actually really shocking to me. So here we have, and this is a Europe only thing right now. However, this is going to apply to the United States as well. So they call this the RN22E. RN Rolling Lab is what they call this car and one of their other cars. And they're trying to do a performance all electric vehicle. But this is the Ioniq 6. So in Europe and in Japan, they're already talking about how they're going to have a high performance version of it. And then recently it was announced that they will be doing a Hyundai Ioniq 6 in. And I can almost guarantee you that this preview we're getting of the RN22E is what we're going to see later on in the production Ioniq 6 in. And I don't know, man. You can't. So this is not a Model S Plaid. Those have, what is it, like 1,200 horsepower when you calculate it out, right,
Yeah.
Coy?
Yeah, it's somewhere in there. It's an insane amount.
So these ones, they're saying they're going to have around 575 to 580 horsepower and 600 foot-pounds of torque. That is still nothing to sneeze at. I mean, that's a considerable amount of power, but it's from a manufacturer that's not charging you 70, 80, $90,000 for their electric car.
This shit's so fucking painful for me on multiple levels. So first of all, I grew up in an era where Hyundai was trash. So I'm probably like that old boomer dude where like Japanese cars are a bunch of American, and then they became the best cars ever. And then, uh, at the time that Toyota was making like the 22R, Dodge also came out with all the K cars, you know what I mean? That were just throwaway. Hyundai's doing that right now, what the Japanese cars kind of did in the 80s and, late 80s. Whereas like my brain, I still kind of don't like them. But on the other hand, the other part of my brain's like, wow, they're really pulling it together. Like, they make nice cars now. They make reliable cars now. They make electric cars now. They're making fast electric cars now. Like, it hurts my brain to try and put Hyundai in with everybody else. All the other, put a Korean car in with all the Japanese ones, and then to think that it's as good as them, maybe better, is painful for me. It's hard. I don't know.
But the same thing is, we've also seen a microcosm of that, though, with the Tesla electric cars. Really, the first like performance ish. I won't say performance minded, but maybe you can call it performance minded, because almost immediately they were making fast Teslas. Once you got to the Model S and the Model
Tesla
X,
started out as a performance car, honestly, before Elon got to them. They were basically electric Lotus Elise.
Yes, so you're right. It did start out that way, but all of these other larger manufacturers have really focused on small, lightweight, using minimal, battery packs. Their range was never as good as Tesla. Like Tesla, you were talking about the cutting edge, the bleeding edge. I mean, that's how we viewed Tesla, but I feel like this is the first time where people are kind of stopping and going, hold up, instead of buying a Tesla for half the price, I can get one of these Hyundais, and it's just as good, or in some respects, maybe even better. It's a weird mind shift.
You don't make a payment, it doesn't drive itself back to the dealer.
Right.
So there's that.
Right, exactly. So that's a really fascinating thing for me, and I feel like that's similar to what you were talking about, where people grew up knowing that Japanese cars or Korean cars were garbage. Obviously, our parents grew up with Japanese cars being garbage. We grew up with Korean cars being garbage, and that's just not the case anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird how things kind of repeat. But what else? What the other part that bothers me, and it literally makes me second guess myself. My sports car, I did some air quotes for those not watching and are only listening. Has 188 horsepower. Now, it weighs just above 2,000 pounds. It doesn't weigh very much. It has under 200 horsepower, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to put a different engine in at some point and maybe get her in the 300s, 350. Then I'll really be a big dog, you know? I'll be an autocross master with my 300 horsepower sports car. This fucking electric Hyundai is gonna have 600 fucking horsepower, dude. What am I supposed to do? Like, how am I supposed to be a car guy and build a fast car? And like 600 horsepower is the new 300 horsepower. I'm like, I can't even. It would be like $40,000 for me to build something with this kind of power. It would be so ridiculously unreliable. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mobile Moto says an embarrassment of horsepower riches, and kids today aren't even getting their licenses. And
oh my God, that's deep. Like, yeah. That's the insane thing is this is going to be a used car in 10 years and it's not going to be expensive. This is going to be somebody's first car is going to be a Hyundai electric sports car that has 600 horsepower.
Yeah.
They won't be a rich kid. They'll be an average kid with a 600 horsepower car. Dude, when I was a kid, grown-ups, car guys, drag car guys didn't have 600 horsepower. Like supercharged big blocks made 550.
I know. Something really cool I think they're doing with this one is the front motors and rear motors are independent. So if you're watching live, what's that?
Independent rear motors in the front. Reverse, forward.
I don't think that's quite how it's going to work. However, a lot of the press releases, a lot of the images, the video you see where they're showing off this RN22E shows it drifting. So it's pretty clear that there's some, programming for either torque biasing front to rear or just shutting those front motors off and going drifting. And that is still something that Tesla has been struggling with is not going fast in a straight line. Obviously can do that, but Teslas still have a tendency to overheat when they're lapped on the track. And Hyundai's entire marketing campaign has been kind of centered around this car is a track car. You can take it to the track and you can lap from full battery to empty and have a good time the entire way through. And that's what makes me think that this could be taking a pretty serious chunk away from Tesla, in my opinion.
Tesla's going to have to make some changes. I mean, that is something else that bugs me about Tesla. They kind of do the same thing about the Toyota does is they run like the Tesla S is the same fucking car that it's always been. Like they haven't changed. They've added new stuff. They've added software. It's got upgrades, but I mean, visually, it's really the same car.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not that much has changed, and which is fine, but you gotta at a certain point when you've pushed forward far enough in your car design, you have to now come up with a new chassis to be able to include new technology. You know what I mean? You can't you can't just update your phone or your iPhone 1 and expect it to perform with your iPhone 12. You can't. There's not enough updates to do that. Certain point you need a new chassis. Yeah, the S is 9 years old. Moto says. I didn't know off the top of my head, but it's and that's not that crazy. Like I mean, Nissan runs their chassis for like fucking 20 years. It feels like I don't even know how long that. I think they ran their pickup chassis for like 16 years or something ridiculous.
Just like you were saying with Toyota, same thing.
Yeah, but at least Nissan like puts a different motor in it halfway through. Sometimes Toyota just leaves it all the same. They'll add like a package or different paint colors, heated seats. But yeah, I mean, and Hyundai seems like their platforms run like 5-6 years, and they're going new. Chrysler 300 is like 50. Do they even make? I didn't realize they made those anymore. That's crazy.
A Chrysler 300 is a good swap candidate at this point.
Like to swap stuff into?
Yeah, because you get yourself, you pay $1,500 for a clapped out Chrysler 300, but then if you can get one of the 2015 plus Hemi motors, which are apparently really, really good. I watched an Engine Masters episode about it, and I mean they just made gobs of horsepower and were very receptive to any modifications you did. That could be a fun little car.
You know what's the saddest thing about 300s, since we're gonna run off on a tangent? When they were like new, they kind of had like this, I don't know, like 60s gangster vibe, you know what I mean? Like they were they were cool. They had like this dangerous look.
Yeah,
And
Dick
now I
Tracy-ish.
see one and it looks sad. I'm just like, "Oh, that's what you drive?" Like it's like a 1996 Lexus, that thing where it was like, I paid a ton of money for this new, and 4 years later it's worth $1,200. Like, oh,
Yeah.
it makes me sad when I see like luxury cars that are now worth $4,000.
Well, sometimes they're worth $4,000 because that's all they were worth in the first place. Looking at you, Land Rover.
Dude, I rode in one of the SRT8 300s. That was the first first SRT8 vehicle platform I rode in was a 300, and the guy that was driving it was just a meatball and no driving skill, and he was diving into corners, and I remember the brakes on that thing, and I'm like, wow, this car this car is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore, but one of these days we're going to need to do another episode where we talk about budget race cars or budget performance vehicles, because there's stuff out now. We tend to do it like once a year where we kind of go through and talk about our performance bargains, performance choices, and every single time we do, mine changes like almost all the time. They're rotating because things go up in value, things go down in value. um, I'll tell you though, Hyundai, I'm glad to see this Ioniq 6 in. I'm glad to see that they're doing something with it. This feels very real and tangible to me. The other Hyundai I wanted to tell you about, I think is not as realistic to come to fruition, but I still am in love. They call this the Envision 74. It is a hydrogen fuel cell hybrid,
I,
what they call their rolling lab.
you notice as soon as gas hit $5 a gallon, like every manufacturer is like, look, we have a hydrogen one that we kind of thinking of, like they've been working on hydrogen this whole fucking time and just don't talk
Mhm.
about it. I bet they could all come out with cars that ran on fucking water tomorrow.
Oh yeah. Oh, I guarantee it. Yeah. Then we'd have to be buying supplements. We'd need DEF because the water is too toxic.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's dead water. You can't have that going on the ground. Yeah. Trust me. We got to do a conspiracy episode sometime. Fucking skin suit reptiles out there. Now I got to say, this thing is like Back to the Future 240 drift car look. Like,
Mhm.
I dig the shit out of it. Like, this is what should have been in the new Blade Runner. President suit skin. Yeah, you get where I'm going, Mobo. Yeah. You ever notice how almost every actor has a lazy eye? Like 90% of them. It's weird, isn't it? It just seems like that statistically is odd. Now I'm gonna get killed. I do. One thing that bumped me about these wheels, they're rotoform wheels. I don't remember
Yeah.
the model spec, but they're they have that flat face with the air intake thing, like the old Porsche and stuff. I love these wheels. I would actually love to put these on my 2. They only come in 18s, and it's dumb to put 18s on. But I actually researched this wheel a lot because I just dig the look of this. It's got like a retro vibe thing, and I'm glad they put it on there. It's a great looking wheel.
Oh, it's a great looking wheel, and it's a great looking car. And these are not CGI, by the way. Everybody watching at home, or hitting the links in the description of the podcast. This is a prototype vehicle. Like, we don't know how fast it is. We don't even know if it's running the hydrogen hybrid fuel cell. It might be a Briggs and Stratton motor in, for all we know. But the look of it, I really, really love the look. My buddy Vincent the other day told me it has like a 180ZX kind of look to him. Obviously with some kind of a body kit and stuff like that, but he was like, just look at the headlights the way they are. It almost looks like if this was designed in the 80s, there would definitely be cutouts where those headlights would pop up a little bit, right?
For me, it's got like a cross between a 240 and a Camaro rear end on it.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at those taillights,
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely got a kind of 300ZX. It's got like a Nissan / Camaro rear end look. And the front end, bro, when you look straight at the front, the V12, 7, whatever series BMW that used to be like $400 an hour worth a ton of money for some reason. It definitely has like a V12 BMW look to it.
Those big, wide fender flares that honestly remind me of the second generation Starion.
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah, it's that. Oh, Moto says M1. It's kind of got an M1 look. It's kind of got an old school M3 look, even if you look at the fenders, that early 90s M3. I mean, good. They're hitting it on every level here, even though it pulls, and I'm pulling off of like 90 different cars from Euro to American to Japanese. This car is fucking nailing it, dude. If they would just make this a medium powered, if this was a 284 horsepower rear wheel drive sports cars of theirs, they would sell a metric shit ton of them.
Especially if they came in at that like mid 30s price point.
I mean, literally just competing against the FRS or 86 or whatever it's called now. It couldn't be quite this aggressive, obviously, from the factory, but God, and then from the side, it's got like that Back to the Future vibe. You know what I mean? That silver, like they nailed it with this car. I hate to see that it's just a hydrogen prototype. Like, it should be going somewhere.
Yeah.
It's got it's got like 80s, those angles, got some serious like early 90s, 80s. Like you're saying that Mitsubishi Starion, I mean, Dodge Stealth, like all that. It's good. It's maybe it's my age group, but it's hitting me in the feels. Like, I'm like, I want one.
Yeah. This thing's bonerific.
Go gadget car. Wow, deep pole Mobo. Moto, yeah, it is. Holy shit. I just had like a flashback. God damn, it is. I have to Google that now. That is like right there. Wow. It does. I also, you notice they do like that. The headlights and the taillights are this pixelated. I don't know. I mean, they're LED, but they have like this Pac-Man look to them. You see what I'm saying?
Some racer out there is going to find a way to program those LEDs, and so it's going to run like a middle finger stream across the back,
Yeah, they got this car is fucking awesome.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Ditch the hydrogen because you're never going to be allowed to do that anyways. I'm not saying it won't work. You probably have excellent hydrogen technology. It just it's not oil and it's not electric. It's not going to work because they won't let you. So drop that. I want this car though. Just drop the hydrogen. Stop trying to do hydrogen because it's just never going to come to fruition.
I wouldn't mind seeing it as maybe like a Fisker Karma style hybrid where it's got a small motor that makes okay horsepower, but then it has just ridiculously oversized electric motors and big batteries, and it's a plug-in hybrid, so you don't have to run the electric motor and the gas motor, and the gas motor is not the hugest and craziest thing. What if they just took their existing 2-liter turbocharged in motor and literally just did a full-on Fisker Karma kind of build to it? I think that this would be an amazing piece of hardware, and I do think it would sell.
Look, if we want a hydrogen car, here's how you need to do it. Throw the turbocharged in motor in there. Do a hydrogen generator setup. So we just pour distilled water in this cap and then turn that into hydrogen. This is still going to be a gas petroleum car. Like, I want the hydrogen to work like something like nitrous. Like, I hit the hydrogen switch and it goes from 200. Now we're injecting hydrogen and it, little LED screen turns on. It's like you have 320 miles on hydrogen power. And for that, I will get 100 horsepower more. Like, just direct inject hydrogen. Can we do something like that so we don't scare the gas companies and oil companies? But like, I still just get to be like hydrogen nitrous.
I don't see why not. Yeah, wow, man, they really, and they're trying to explain that they took inspiration off of the Hyundai Pony from the 70s. I mean, in some ways I see it a little bit, but at the same time, no, man, this is its own completely unique thing.
And if you parked a 240 SX next to it, I'd be like, okay, that Pony, no. If that car wasn't silver, I wouldn't see any real semblance. You know what I mean?
But again, like the 180SX, because it had those block headlights in the front, not the pop-ups.
Yeah.
That's really the vibe I'm catching from the front of this thing. And you know, a lot of these photos are renders, but some of the photos are of the actual prototype vehicle. And I don't know, man. I hope they keep on going with it. I really do. I don't know. You know, we never know. But again, that's why I'm happy to see that the Ioniq 6 is getting the in treatment, because we're at least going to have a performance electric vehicle from Hyundai in that way.
That I think we're gonna see something from. This was cool. They just wanted some publicity with the high gas prices and hydrogen. It looks great. If you remember, was it about a year and a half ago? Hyundai came out with that really cool. It kind of had like an old school Lincoln vibe LTD.
Hmm.
It was some kind of prototype, and we're all like, "Wow, that's yep." I'm pretty sure it was a two door. Looked like an old two door LTD or something. Kind of had that vibe, and it's like they had a bunch of prototypey pictures, and then that's nothing, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think it's just generate buzz.
I'm sure you're right, but it's a real shame because I really do think they touched on something. They touched all of us, Coy, in both appropriate and inappropriate ways with this car design. I think they'd be fools to not try to suss it out at least a little bit. But you know, that's where we're at for the news. I think we've had some really cool stuff come through, and the cool stuff don't stop because you've got this wild overland AF for us, dude.
Overland is fuck!
What is going on here, man?
Bro, this is the most bro thing we've ever over. No, it's not. Overland AF said more bro stuff than this. This is the Night Ride Ranger. Now, if you're optically with us right now, you can pretty much see what's going on. But if you're not, it is a thermal camera that is made for mounting outside of your vehicle with a screen inside for driving at night with no headlights. The Night Ride Ranger is a small, lightweight infrared camera. Sorry, not thermal, infrared, using heat signatures to give you a view quarter mile down the road through dust, rain, fog, snow, blah blah blah, and complete darkness. Perfect device for any commercial driver, daily driver, outdoorsman. I mean, this is straight up for poaching, but I'm not even going to pretend it's for anything else.
Or when you're out street racing and you have to go dark.
A quarter mile, dude. Can you imagine only being able to see a quarter mile in front of you at 80 miles an hour?
That's a good point. That is a good point.
I remember I used to always enjoy this. I'd be like in my car when it was foggy on the highway and you were speeding, and you can feel when you're getting to that point where you're driving faster than you can see.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you're driving and there's nothing in front of you, and then you see a blinker come on in the distance and then go off, and you're like, "Oh, I'm coming up on a car." Like that's what this would be all the time. And your depth perception would be horrible because it's a, I mean, you know how it is.
Oh yeah.
This is a pain-free 5-minute install, though. It looks like it just clips to the front of your hood, basically, or the back of your hood, I should say, right in front of the wipers. Boom, pow, have a screen that pops up. I can't wait till a YouTuber is doing this and just wrecks super hard.
Hopefully their recorder is on, right?
Yeah, obviously.
Our newest model, the Night Ride Ranger.
Oop, we're going to go ahead and turn that down so we don't get copyright struck. Sorry, guys.
Now,
but yeah, it just shows him, like you said, he's hooking it on the back side of his hood.
And then he just clipped it to the battery, and then it Bluetooth to a little screen, whatever you got, iPad or something. I mean, I kind of like this product in ways. It's neat. It's also horrible and useless in a lot of other ways. And the price, here's the thing, is I feel like I'm going to be able to do this with my cell phone in about 5 years.
Yeah.
And this thing costs $1,895. Now, when I got on the Night Ride website, I thought, oh, this is the high end one. What can I get for cheaper? No, this is the lowest end one. It goes up significantly from here in their other models. So, yeah.
Let's go ahead and click on the Night Ride Sentinel.
Yeah.
Oh, get a quote. That's not good.
Yeah, not a good sign. No. If it's there and you actually have to get a quote and not just have them send you one, you can't afford it.
Yeah.
I think their other model was 5K or something like that. And another one, I don't remember what the name was. But dude, either way, this is overland as fuck. Like straight up.
Oh, yeah, it has to be. Yeah, no, you're right. 3,300, 4,900, 5,500.
Yeah, this is entry level here. And it only goes up.
Goodness gracious. But
Peeping
it's
Tom special edition. Thank you, Mobile Moto. Yes. That is what this is. Holy shit.
yeah, somebody's
Yeah.
gonna be using this to perv on other people for
I mean,
sure.
that being said, for most search and rescue guys buy their own stuff. I know on TV it shows all these like special ops sheriff teams shoulder rolling in to save you. It's not how it is. It's a bunch of middle-aged, somewhat overweight guys that are volunteers in real life. I can see somebody springing for this, possibly for that kind of thing. Obviously, like I said, hunters, they're going to use it for hunting, air quotes, hunting.
Air quotes hunting,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah. So I think it's a cool product. I think it's overland as fuck. I kind of want to share it on some of the overland pages I'm on, see if anybody buys one. I wish they had like a code that they could do so that they could buy it and I could get like $20 or something. But
Yeah.
I guarantee there are overland Instagrammers that have wrote these guys asking them, like, we'll send us one and we'll get you a bunch of play. And yeah, feral pig expeditions. That's those guys probably already into this. I know they do a lot of that night vision thermal stuff. So,
And shoot from a helicopter.
they don't really video that stuff anymore, even though it's awesome. Turns out people feel like that's not fair.
Yeah, but if you get gored by a
I
feral
saw a
pig,
pig eat another pig. I don't think they care about fair.
yeah, no, there's nothing fair in the feral pig world. But yeah, this thing, I mean, you're 100% right. It's certified OLEF. Has to be.
Has to be.
Well, there you go, folks. If you want to see at night and possibly through people's underwear, there you go.
Overland is fuck.
Well, Coy, we only have one segment left, and it is our favorite. And everybody, if you're listening or if you're watching, jump in those comments. Let us know what you think about this car. This is our dealer doob of the day.
Smokin' deal or smoking a doobie.
And once again, Coy, this is something that you found and sent my way. It's a 1988 Isuzu iMark.
Yeah, these are. You didn't see these around a long time ago very much, and I haven't seen one of these in for fucking ever. And when I saw it, I got like flashbacks. There were fucking Huey helicopters, explosions. I started rocking around. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah. Fortunate Son started playing in the background.
Yeah. Fortune Son. Engage.
So this is an iMark 4X C1 RS Turbo. It's a hatchback. It's white, just like we like our little turbo shit boxes. It's all white. It's got some actually decent looking tires on it. I can't tell what the tires are, but they look racy. They have big tread blocks. I'm gonna assume they're a 200 tread wear. It's got the sunroof that we've all come to know and love, where you have the handle and you pop it up. No motors needed. It's got the little deck shelf spoiler on the back, which I think is a great look. And then of course it has kind of this body kit on it, the side skirts and the ground effect bumpers. And so it looks like an Isuzu iMark, but at the same time, you can tell that it's something entirely different and it wholly special. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I guarantee somewhere on here it says this handling by Lotus. So the handling's good because Lotus helped Isuzu.
Yeah, right. But hey, the description is daily driven, lots of fun, has all of the emissions equipment intact, intake part included. I don't know what that means. And a cat, so it will pass emissions. Original paint, no bodywork, clean interior, Recaro seats in great shape, stock stereo, clean title in hand for $8,500.
Now, I did a little research on this, and there is a bit of a cult following in these. Not a huge one because I just straight up didn't make a ton of these.
Mm-hmm.
From what I can tell, this model comes with a solid 110 horsepower from the factory. Does that sound right to you?
110, that seems low.
It seems low, but I'm kind of pretty sure I'm right.
That's interesting. I would have expected it to be more, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did have 110 horsepower at this point because this car has 200,000 miles on it.
Well, and it's a 1988. Like the Civic TRXs, like everything else had that 110, 130 horsepower. I know this is a turbo, but it's an Isuzu turbo. Like, not exactly the beastiest of turbo cars.
Sure. It's just 1600 cc. It only weighs 2,100 pounds. So, I mean, I'm not going to say that this is a good choice of car to be built, but for what it is at the time, I'm sure it was actually much quicker than you'd expect it to be.
In 1988, when you were looking for a new car, I mean, this was right there with everybody else, and it was turbo, bro. Like turbos were new and cool. Like, you said things like laser and stealth when you said turbo, like all those titanium, all those buzzwords, like it was a turbo. Like that was a big deal back then, even though turbos didn't really pack the punch they do now at all because they were just basically heat soak machines hanging off your engine. But yeah, this thing's, I mean, I know it's got a lot of miles, but it's kind of superb condition considering it's a bit of a time capsule.
It is in really, really good condition, surprisingly. And, it's kind of a throwback. It says Recaro seats, and it's like, oh yeah, a lot of these sort of like hot hatch cars from lower end manufacturers, or at least at the time.
He has a picture of the handling by Lotus emblem. Oh God, yes.
Yes.
Oh, there's one on the front fender and the rear hatch, handling by Lotus. I remember thinking that when I was a kid, be like, man, this thing must handle so good. Must be so good.
But hey, what was this car competing against? It was competing against like the Turbo K cars, the Ford Probe, the what was that Chevy Cavalier, the performance Chevy Cavalier. That's kind of the range, the realm in where the car was competing.
It'd be like the EF Civic hatch, CRXs,
Mazda 323 GTs.
Yeah. What else? You might even throw in the turbo Chevy Sprint or Isuzu, whatever it was, 3-cylinder turbos. I mean,
Suzuki Swift.
Yeah. That's what it was, Suzuki Swift or Chevy Sprint. What was the other one? The Colt. There was a turbo hatch. Who was a Colt, right?
Was it a Dodge Colt?
Yeah, I think it was, but like Mitsubishi.
No, you're thinking of the GLH and GLHS, the Dodge Omni.
There you go. But they were a little turbo pile of trash. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Daytona Shelby. That honestly, maybe even the Starion would be in there. HB Starions. That's kind of more a higher end sports car than this would have been, I think, but it's all in there.
Man,
and
the Volkswagens. I mean, we can't leave out the Volkswagens because that's where the term hot hatch originated. So
and I mean, hey, we can't forget the Toyota Corolla 8.6, bro. I mean, they were all copying each other's homework on this body style there. So,
right. This looks so much like a Toyota Corolla FX16. It's not even funny.
Yeah, it's everybody. They were just a circle jerk of copying each other's homework.
That's what I actually loved about having my sleeper protege is that it looked like every other car out there.
Yeah, it's just a nothing.
It's total nothing burger. I don't want to call this one a nothing burger because the ground effects definitely set it apart.
But Mobile Moto points out he'd rather have a 323 GTX or a Galant VR4. I agree on both those. I'm not a big 323 guy, but Galant VR4s, I will do horrible things that are illegal in most states if you could get me a decently priced well-preserved Galant VR4.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, in 1988, you don't really know which one of these cars are going to be the cool car. Like Galant VR4s go for a lot of money now, and they were just a Galant VR4 then. This thing went, it goes for nothing. There isn't any left, basically. I shouldn't say it goes for nothing, but there's none left, and nobody wants them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even a black sheep. We all forgot about them. I don't even know what happened.
The rarity, like you said before, but also just the fact that it was an Isuzu, because it's like, look at the Daihatsu Charade. Like, nobody thinks about those. They're out there. People bought them. Same with the Le Car. Like, but they're not good, and I'm not saying that this car is good or bad.
You did not bring up the Daewoo Lanos. Not just kidding.
You remember when we were going to put Daewoo Laganza stickers on my Protege? Do you remember that?
You should always put Daewoo stickers on a sleeper. Yeah, Mobile Moto's just blasting out. Plymouth Laser, the DSM quintuplets, yeah, Eagle Talon, Mitsubishi Eclipse, yeah, all those cars. Those are a little higher end than these, but this was that era. And I also really want to point out this dude has fucking period correct Wed Sport wheels on here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those are the wheels. That's like, I can't say I'd put different wheels on it. Like, that's the wheel you should have. Like,
yeah.
boom.
And they fit, and they appear to be 15s or 16s. So,
dude, from a distance, they don't even look not OEM. You're just like, yeah, it works. Right. And it's white with white wheels, which would be fucking weird to do nowadays. But you see this, and I didn't even think twice about it. That was like something you could do in that time period for some reason.
That's that early 90s aesthetic, mid 90s. So I just wanted to take a quick peek at what this car sold for when it was brand new. And this is not just an Isuzu iMark. I mean, I found the original sticker for an iMark RS Turbo. It was $9,800 brand new.
And now you can get a Civic Type R for $40,000.
Or you can get this for $8,500.
Or you can, the guy can recoup the money he paid for it brand new. Man, it's hard for me to judge a price on this. Like, we try not to do too much homework on these. Like I said, I tried to just figure out how much horsepower this had, but most cases I try not to do much homework on these. I kind of mull around in my mind. Yeah.
Drawing from the extensive experience and knowledge that you've gained over the decades.
From all the sport car compact and super street magazines that I have read over the last 3 decades.
Yeah.
All the tissues I've killed reading Super Street as a tween. It's a tough one for me because this is a weird car that, while I felt like I saw a fair amount of these when I was younger, because like I had the handle, I knew this had a handling by Lotus sticker. Like, I saw these weren't like super rare, but I haven't seen one of these in fucking 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
At least minimum, maybe longer. So I haven't even seen one for sale. And I mean, we did a RS Impulse all-wheel drive turbo a while back. That's a newer, better car than this, but and also, that being said, I don't like this car. Like, this isn't what that I want. Like, I think it's cool. It's a literally a time capsule, something I forgot about that was like, oh my God, I totally forgot about these, and like, whoosh, memories, but I'm not interested in owning one either. So do I think this will sell for 85? Man, there's got to be an Isuzu file out there somewhere that wants this badly, right?
We're in a situation right now where I think we might need to make a distinction, because selling it on Facebook Marketplace is going to be an entirely different ball game than if you was to put this up on Bring a Trailer.
Dude, this is a Bring a Trailer car. I mean,
with a Bring a Trailer price.
Yes, I'm just, there are a lot of cars for Bring a Trailer that are like real exotics and former Le Mans race cars and stuff. that are bring a trailer cars, but then there are the weird ones that I'm like, why don't you have this on bring a trailer? Because you would get a real price for this, probably this price. Whereas on Facebook Marketplace, dude, 80 fucking 8. Oh, Mo Moto says hot girl in junior high had a Nissan Pulsar NX. Yes.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I wish they'd had the GTIR version here. I love
I know.
Those are cool cars. Another early 90s glass transmission.
Yeah, Pulsar GTIR.
Yeah.
Which at the time was faster than the Skyline in drag race, but not as reliable.
Not even a little bit, and great. Talk about hot hatch. Great looking hatch.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, back to this car. Man, I don't think he's going to get this price, man. I love this, but at $5K, I see him selling it all day. At $8K, I just don't see it. But I'm not friends like with a hardcore Zuzu nerd either, though. You know what I mean? Like there's gonna be an Isuzu dude that's into this hard.
But how many are out there, and how far are they willing to travel? And is this really that kind of car that they want? Because the Impulse RS that we looked at a month or so ago, that's the all-wheel drive, turbo, double overhead cam, like all the goodies.
That might be the best Isuzu car ever made. Yes.
Right. And I want to say it was fairly low mileage as well. I mean, it was something that somebody treated it like a collector's car. This has been driven. So we don't really know the condition of like the drivetrain.
It's got a little miles, but man, the paint's good. All the original badges are there. Like, I don't know if they took really good care of it or this is just a testament to Isuzu quality. I mean,
it could be a California car. We don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't even look faded though. So like, I mean, I don't know how many of these that handling by Lotus sticker bulge thing I've seen all weathered and peeled off, so it's well taken care of, and the interior is immaculate. I mean, it still has the flap cargo cover that you pull out and goes over the trunk so people can't just look through your hatch and see, what kind of shit you have that you bought at the last store you were at sitting there and knock your window out and steal it. Like, it's in great condition, but dude, these cars aren't that cool. I mean, it's cool, but it's not same price it was brand new cool. So if this thing was super low mileage, I think maybe that 8K number, maybe. But I mean, man, I just don't see this going for over 5. And honestly, if he just knock a dent in the quarter panel of this thing, it'd be like fucking 1,500, 2,000. You know what I mean? Like this thing is 1 quarter panel dent away from being worthless in my mind.
No, I'm 100% with you. Actually, I don't like just mirroring what Coy has to say about these deal dupes, but Coy's spot on. I think at 5,000, he would have some buyers. He'd have some interest. For me, if this was sitting in my neighbor's yard, though, I mean, I'm 100% with you. This isn't a car that I would be interested in having and owning. I have no reason to want or need to have this car. Speaking of $1,500, I know, like, I understand it's immaculate and it's in really, really good condition for what it is. But like, for me to be interested, my buy it now price, I think would be sub 2,000, probably $1,500.
Yeah. See, my buy it now, while this is in good condition, and part of the reason I love this is these wheels, even though they're Wed Sports, but it's like, that just makes this car for me. But even though it's in great condition, it's high mileage, man. It's 200,000. And to me, for me personally, this is sitting down the street with the for sale sign, the price where I can't walk away from it because I'm going to flip it. This is a flipper for me. It's cool. Me and the wife are going to rip around town in this. I'm going to make that thing scream all 110 horsepower, and we're going to laugh and have a good time. And it's going to sound like it's going fast. I'm just going to be flooring it, and the turbo is going to be screaming, but I'm going to be moving at like 40 miles an hour. Dude, I got to go less than 1,500. $1,100. I honestly, no, I'm going to go $1,000. I'd go up to 1,100 maybe, but I mean that 1,000 to 1,100, man. I know there's not as many $1,000 cars as there used to be, but I'm gonna get this for $1,000. I'm gonna put up for 2,500. I think I'll get it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. If it was 2,500, I would say he's not going to miss a beat. Somebody's going to buy it immediately. But unfortunately, I think realistically, I, I don't know. We might even be too generous with 5,000, especially on Facebook Marketplace. If this was on Bring a Trailer, it'd be a whole other ball game. But just
Well,
trying to sell it on Facebook Marketplace,
I'm assuming he shared this out to some weird Isuzu fan page groups and stuff, and it's going to get some traction there. But uh, I'm not. I'm so not in the Isuzu. I know more about Isuzu tow trucks than I do this car. We're being totally honest. So maybe I'm way off the mark, guys. Tell me.
yeah, let us know. Is it, in your opinion, a deal or a doob? And most importantly, what is your personal price on this? That's what we want to know, and that's what we put out to you.
Smokin' deal or smoking a doobie.
Okay, I'm just going to put a little bit of a twist on this. Imagine that this car was exactly the same car. However, it had been K-swapped, and it had like an Acura TSX, manual transmission, and 2.4 liter K series in it, and it had like a Honda tuning thing. I could definitely see 8,500 or 9,000 at that point.
If this, so remember that CRX we did with
Mhm.
with the V6 and the automatic. I feel like if he had done that, honestly, probably get my price up to 1,500. But I would be more excited in some weird way. I don't know.
I'm not saying that that's what I would spend on it, but I'm just saying it might make this price more realistic.
I like what Momo says here. That $8,500 was 69,000 per Bitcoin money a year ago. Silicon Valley Geek Conquest. Never pay more than the MSRP sticker for a car unless it has a Ferrari or better. I agree with all that. This does have a definite startup Silicon Valley kind of buy it because you have way too much money vibe.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Well, Coy, man, it's been a great episode. We ran long. Sorry about that, everybody.
I want to
This
thank
is a-
Mobile Moto for hanging in there whole freaking show and commenting. Thank you, sir. Super fan.
Dude, he's a hero.
award you a badge.
He's a hero. He's a king. He's got that long dick style. And we thank you, Momomoto. And we thank you guys out there for tuning into the show. We want to thank you for telling a friend about it. Coy, as always, I want to thank you. Where can people find you if they want to come and fist fight you?
Yes, if you want to fight with me, get on the page or the group Horsepower Hour on Facebook. And just message, say, "Hey, Coy, you're so wrong, and I'd like to punch your ugly face."
Don't post it publicly, because then you'll get kicked like I just did.
And Mobile says, All Terrain Nation brought me here. Yes, we've had David from All Terrain Nation on before. Give him a quick shout out. Thank you.
We'll do another one with him real soon. And we'll be doing another one next week. So once again, thanks, everybody. We appreciate you. And for Coy Forticus and Masterson, this is Andy. We will see you next time.